Afternoon. We are now in Zvornik, so it's sort of Bosnian and Serbian, so we've had to get a bus up to Zvornik for 4 hours. Then we've had to walk across the border, and now we've walked to the train station where we're waiting for our train to Belgrade. So hopefully next scenes should be Belgrade after our 3-hour train. What are you reading? 45 ways to... You read the sequel?
Sequel.
45 ways to move out your parents' house. Just arrived at the Airbnb now, and even by my standards, which have been remarkably better than Sachin's since I took over the Airbnb bookings, this is just phenomenal. Look at that. We've got a hallway in our Airbnb. That's probably it. So there's the kitchen. Oh, got somewhere to sit and enjoy the view. Balcony as well. That's mine and Sachin's room. Only downside of the Airbnb is I do have to put up with Sachin's snoring. This is the lounge and recreation area. Oh wow. Don't know what's in there, can't get in. The bathroom, well, the toilet. The bathroom, another toilet, just in case two of us need it. Master bedroom for Damo, and one lucky Serbian lady of his choice. You're so creative, Sachin.
I've done this before.
I can feel the creativity. How many ice creams have you had this trip?
Not enough.
Nom nom nom. Morning all, first full day in Belgrade today. So the plan for today is we're about to do a walking tour, and then we want to go and look at the fortress, but it looks like the fortress is free entry to like the grounds and stuff, so we might actually end up covering that as part of the walking tour because it looks like it is on the agenda. And then after that we want to go up Mount Zavala and have a look at basically a view of the city from there, and the Zavala Tower, which I think is the tallest structure in Serbia. So next stop should be scenes from the walking tour. Yeah, exactly. He'd rather just let it out.
Yeah, it was gained on the because at the beginning of the 18th century, everything.
Walking tour is done for me and Damien, and I thought it was good. It was a good walking tour. It was nice to see the city. There's some nice bits. I think I probably so far prefer the architecture in Sarajevo, because he mentioned in the tour that like Belgrade as the city's been like destroyed and rebuilt something like 40 times or something ridiculous. So like spread throughout the city there's nice parts and nice buildings, but it's not like Sarajevo where you've got like an Ottoman quarter, for example, and then like an Austro-Hungarian part. I think as well, like for example, like we went to a mosque, and I think it was like the only Ottoman mosque that's still standing, so a lot of the Ottoman architecture has just been completely destroyed after they liberated themselves from the Ottoman Empire, which is a bit of a shame really, because I really liked the Ottoman architecture in Sarajevo. I think the plan now is we're going to head to the Temple of Saint Sever, was it? Something like that anyway, but that's meant to be very cool. and we're going to head up Mount Avala. So we're rejoined by Sachin, who treated himself to a lie-in this morning.
It's a growing boy.
Because he'd only had, when we woke him up, he'd only had about 9 or 10 hours, so he just thought he needed a couple more just to make sure he was fully rested and ready for the big day ahead. Just waiting for Sachin to catch us up now.
Yeah.
His knees aren't what they used to be.
Lazy sausage.
Yeah, you'll see him coming up.
And to think he had a lie-in for this as well.
I know, yeah, he's well rested. Probably is about 20 minutes away, but he's coming into view. I can always cut out the wait. He's finally arrived. Do you want to rest?
I'm good, mate.
About 2 minutes later, we're waiting for him again. So he should be emerging
Oh, right.
just down there. What do you mean cut the path? The only path I see is
Do
the
you want
path.
to show the path that you took?
I don't see. I am happy to show it because I've no show.
This is the official path.
Well, I'm sorry if we took the unofficial path, but I thought the goal was to get to the top.
That's the authentic path.
Yeah, solo traveller path. Come on, Damo. Okay. Don't wish for an easier life. Wish to be a stronger man. No sign of Sachin on the official path. A bit more intense than your gym workouts. That's why you need a full body workout like rowing. He's not getting drawn in. I'll tell you what, as a treat, Damo, as you carried the bag and water all the way up, I'll take it down, so it's a 50-50 split. Took your time. So we're at the top now. You've got to pay to go at the top of the tower, which we don't have an issue with, but it's quite a gloomy day. I'll spin you around. Probably doesn't look as bad there, but yeah, quite a gloomy day, so we're not sure whether to pay to go up because we don't think the view will be that good with this weather. So our solution is Sachin's gone off and he's going to send the drone up and see what the view looks like. If it's good, we'll go in, and if it's not, we won't. Well-earned drink at the top, Damo.
Exactly. I mean, that's what you get for taking the enthusiast trail and not the Weenie Puff Juniors from SpongeBob.
Absolutely. So yeah.
But in actuality, I think it was more of an accessibility trail, like what you get in the UK.
Like a wheelchair.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why Sachin stuck to that one.
I would agree, despite Sachin's obsession with following the prescribed route, which I found a bit bizarre. It was by far the easier route and slightly longer. I think ours was a more intense workout on the calves, and there was obviously a trail there, so I'm not sure where his insistence that it's cheating from. And you could argue that taking the drone up to get a look at the view is also cheating, but I'm
Cheating
sure
the economy of Serbia.
absolutely, which we're not doing by paying for our drinks, whereas, you know, he'll be on the tap water, no doubt. Verdict, Sachin, worth paying? Too cloudy?
Just nothing to see.
Nothing to see?
There's like, it's not like there's a sky or anything, but it's just, I'll show you on there in a second, but it's just like, there isn't anything like, the thing to see is that.
Yeah.
So it's like the thing you're trying to see, you're going to be inside it, so it's just like...
There's nothing wrong with that.
I knew as soon as I formed that sentence that I can't think of any other way to say it, so...
So we're heading back down now and doing very well for time, so we're going to head to the Tesla Museum next, I think, which is open until 8 PM. Actually, you're not on the official path.
Huh?
You're not on the official path. Did you take shortcuts? He did take a shortcut. He's still 5 minutes behind. Would have been quicker to go with Jack Smith.
There's no shortcut to success.
There's not, and he's got to learn that. So we've done a slight detour at the Red Star Belgrade Stadium now, because Sachin wanted to have a look. I'm not gonna lie, I'm slightly underwhelmed with the size of it. I've heard of the club and I know the history's pretty good, but it's not a massively impressive stadium, is it?
As we both well and truly know, size is always the most important factor. Stop looking, you dirty pervert! It's weird.
Yeah, it is.
Here he is.
Sachin, you can see fully in from this one. Look, there's the pitch.
Does it bring you up to like where you
Arsenal won the league that year. Yeah, beat Liverpool final day, 2-0 at Anfield to win the league. Best ending to a season ever.
Do it in a way that is a lot more innovative and fun. So once again, the basic premise is that the egg should start standing on its own without anything holding it. And as you can see, it is starting to do exactly that. Now, why is this egg behaving in such a non-egg way? Well, the egg is actually the rotor of this induction motor, which means that it is under the influence of the rotating magnetic field.
Sachin, please, I've told you about watching that filth when I'm in the room with you. Evening all, we're now back from the museum, so I rated the museum quite highly, so it was quite interesting. I mean, Tesla didn't really have much to do with Belgrade. He was actually born in what's now Croatia, but when he died, a relative, his personal stuff was sent back to a relative in Belgrade, including his ashes, and they've just held on to it and just built a museum around it. It was pretty good. There was a 15-minute video about him, which was quite good. You could see all his personal stuff, and then they did a few electrical experiments, which you will have seen. So yeah, I rate it pretty highly. Morning all, final full day here in Belgrade today. So me and Damien are up early. We're going to probably get a coffee first, then go to the Museum of Yugoslavia, which opens at 10. No sign of Sachin yet, he's still in bed. I didn't bother to wake him up because it was like 8 o'clock, so it's not his style. It's become a bit of a theme of the holiday actually. We've both noticed that despite being the member of the group that complains the most about being tired and says he needs the most sleep, he does actually go to bed the latest by far. Whether that's a factor in his inability to get up before midday, that's not for us to comment. We just thought it was an interesting observation. So next stop will probably be the Museum of Yugoslavia, unless we see something along the way that we want to stop for. So this is the seat of the Serbian president. So I think we're about to see the big lad himself. So we're in the House of Flowers. We've just seen the mausoleum. The one thing I find quite interesting is it's showing pictures and stuff. This is where he was actually brought when he died, so they haven't moved him or anything. They've built the museum around him and where he was buried. So groups just come and put some flowers down and then bowed and saluted, which again, very, very interesting considering he was a dictator that died 40 years ago. What does this piece signify to you?
To me, it's a certain lazy sausage being told he needs to get up for 10 o'clock
not entirely sure what this bit is. I think it's some kind of modern art thing, but I think we've probably done the best part of the museum. What about you, Damo?
I mean, I actually think this is up there with Tito's mausoleum and everyone's saluting it with the flowers.
Okay, I'll
That's not
spin you
really-
around. But Damien's more artsy than me, clearly. He can appreciate it, just like he appreciated the female form in Exeter. Right, so Museum of Yugoslavia is basically done. We've ticked everything off our list now, so we've had a look at a guide that the tour guide gave us yesterday. So I think we're going to have a look at Tajmadan Park, however you pronounce it. Then we're going to have a look at the bombed
NATO
out NATO's, some buildings that were bombed by NATO that are still there.
We're going to have some cake.
We're going to have some cake, yeah, so but anyway. So we're going to have some cake at the Hotel Moskva, which there's a cake that's quite popular in Serbia, but it's originally from that hotel, and they've got the original recipe, so it's the only place you can have the original cake. Not spots action in that yoga class somewhere, doing his stretches.
Careless whisper playing.
Oh, if you get closer you might hear it. So we're at the park now. The church was very, very nice. Probably only the second best church we've seen in the last 24 hours though, I think it's fair to say, Damo.
Yeah, I think it's very fair to say. Still very impressive from an objective standpoint, but not quite as grandiose as the one we went to.
Maybe it would have been better doing it first, but in terms of the park, it's pretty average, just a load of grass. So we're at what should be the bombed out buildings now. Slightly underwhelming, just looks like any other run-down estate really. It's not obviously bomb damaged. I'll spin you around, but it's not great. Could be anywhere really. It's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cathedral, I should say.
I think this is looking a bit more bombed out than anything we saw in the centre. So we're in the Zemun district now. We went to what we thought would be a park, but turned out to be a graveyard. I think that's pretty representative of what we think about the district. I've no idea why the tour guide recommended this, but there's just not really anything here. I think the main positive is that you can see better the bomb damage on the buildings from the NATO bombings, but yeah, I think we're going to head back and do the National Museum. Alright, so we are back from the National Museum. It was okay. I thought it was pretty average. Some of the stuff in there, it sort of jumped around a bit historically, and there were some periods where it'd be like 100 or 200 years, and it would just have art from the period, but not tell you what had really happened. So you know, obviously art is quite open to interpretation, so it doesn't really tell you much about the history for this, but it was okay. Yeah. Anything to add, Damo?
It was fine.
Why don't you tell us what you've got up to today?
So left here, went to Fortress, the park, and the church.
You went to church?
Which is about 10-15 minute walk from here, or the main high street, so what's on the high street. And then went to the park. Had a little wander down there, and then went back to, is it Taj Mahal Park? So I went back there because I wanted to go to the R&S building, I think it's called, or ONT. So
What's that?
basically, when NATO bombed Serbia or Belgrade, or in particular Belgrade, one of the bombs hit the sort of the media building or the radio building of Serbia. And basically, what they've done is that they've built the new building, the I want to say RNT, I'm going to go with RNT. They built the new media building, the radio building, next to the existing site that was bombed.
Maybe that's what we were looking for.
Um,
So we were looking for a bombed building in that area
Yeah.
and couldn't find it.
So I assume it was the one I saw because it was next to the park. Very humbling. I think this trip's been a very humbling trip in terms of what this area of the world's been through. I got a bus to the park and just had a little wander around the parks.
Oh yeah, this is a new move. He's been practicing.
Right, Friday night, get some food in with the boys. Get the burger with the boys.
Right, back from dinner and watching the Champions League final. Got to see Real Madrid lift the Champions League, the little team that could. So yeah, pretty much this is the end really. I've enjoyed Belgrade. I don't think I'd come back. I don't really feel like there's much more I want to do. I don't feel like the city has much of an identity compared to, like, for example, Sarajevo. It's not somewhere I could see myself just going and sitting and chilling. So for me, I've enjoyed Belgrade, but I don't think I'd come back. What are your thoughts, Sachin?
I didn't know what to expect from, I suppose, the 3 countries I've been to, but yeah, I suppose I enjoyed my time in all 3. Enjoyed my time in Belgrade, probably my favourite out of the 3. It's just got the most energy out of all 3, and I'm like someone who likes energy and business, people, things going on. So I think for me, I think Sarajevo was nicer, but I preferred Belgrade.
Okay, what about you, Damo?
I think it's a city that's worth visiting, like for 2-3 days or so. I think there's enough to keep you going, but I don't think there's anything we really missed out. We were kind of struggling for stuff to do during the afternoon. So it's kind of like, reminds me of almost like generic European, like city almost, does like to, I don't know if I'm...
I get what you mean. Like, you could be anywhere.
Yeah,
you could
like
be in
the-
any
like
big
the-
city.
Like the high street that was identical to a high street in a UK city, like with like Zara and H&M and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's just like there's not as much distinguishing it compared to, like, say, as you mentioned before, Sarajevo. So I really tread that. But overall, I thought it was still a nice enough city to spend a few days in.
Yeah, how do I approach this place in a different angle? Like, how do I come out of this and have a different experience to have just as good a time? And I can't see how I'd do that. Like, I probably would come back, but how I'd approach it, I'm not sure.
Right, I think that's everything then. Not sure when the next video will be, as I don't have much lined up until August now. But yeah, over and out.